Okay, here we're going to take a look at how to use the ratios area, this area in the lower right-hand corner of the Insights panel, how to use ratios in your wave analysis. So let's first jump right in here and run a count on XLV. Now what we're going to be interested in for this example is this rally after this correction here. So let's zoom in. So we're using that as our significant turning point. Zoom out a little bit more. There we go. So we run our count. Now there are two main reasons you might want to refer and use the ratios area. One of those is just to help increase confidence in a given wave count. There are certain relationships. Well, first I should say we can hover over any wave on the chart. Let's turn off some tools here just to allow us to focus. You can hover any wave on the chart and see in the ratios area the ratios between the subwaves. And what that means is, so for example, if we hover this ABC correction here, we see three ratios, C to A, B to A, and C to B. And what that is referring to is the ratio between the lengths of the subwaves of that ABC correction. So in the first case here, we have the ratio between C to A is 1.58. Now, it deserves to be mentioned here that the most common ratio for C to A is 1.0. That means when C roughly equals the length of wave A. Right behind that, the two next most common ratios are 0.6 and 1.6. And in this case here, you can see that the price ratio is shown in green, which is an indication that we are close to one of the most common ratios for C to A. And this kind of thing can help you, as I said, gain more confidence. So what we're getting evidence here that this is in fact a pretty solid ABC correction. Now let's clear some of the clutter here so it makes it a little easier to see there. Additionally, for example, we can take a look at this impulsive move to complete wave A. And we see again in the ratios area, common ratio for wave 5 to wave 1 is 1.0. Let's get back on that one. Common ratio is 1.0, and we can see we're close to that with 1.18 lit up in green. Additionally, a common ratio for wave 5 compared to the total distance of wave 1 and wave 3 is 0.6, also lit up in green. So this is giving us confidence that we have identified at the lower time frames here a solid corrective move. Overall, looking at the larger context, we can just refer to the next subwaves area here, which is covered in more detail in another video. We have an impulsive move at 2 higher degrees working its way up. The other reason you might want to use the ratios area is, for example, when you're projecting waves forward in time. Now, you may be doing this with manual drawing, or in this case, what we'll take a quick look at, for example, just to get a sense of how the project pattern forward feature works. Hovering over this 2, we can see that we have an impulsive move moving up to the upside with a minimum target for this wave 3 up at the green box there. So let's click on that to leave it on the chart. What we can do from here, for example, is we can see that we have perhaps started up in a wave 1 toward that upper minimum target. So we can right click on that one, project the pattern forward, and see what that would look like. Now look at that. So our wave 1, using standard Elliott wave mathematics and Fibonacci mathematics, if we project from that wave 1 forward, it reaches just about the minimum target that we would expect for the wave 3 here. So this is great information. This tells us that we have a confluence at 2 different degrees, at the as we see here, the higher degree, the intermediate degree, wave 2, climbing up into wave 3, and at the next lower degree, minor degree impulse. These are lining up. So this is a good clue, good evidence, good confirmation building that we're in fact heading up to that green box as a minimum projection. And where the ratios come into play here, the project pattern forward feature will use standard LA wave expectations in placing waves on the chart for you. So if we look at the ratio section, we can see that the 5 is roughly equal to 0.6 of the 1.3. So great information. Let's take another quick example. Let's look at USO. And let's look at a 1 hour chart. I think will give us a good example. Okay, so we're going to take a closer look at this correction coming down here. Run our count. And let's zoom in a bit. So we can see here at the end of the count, we have 3 impulsive moves attempting to complete to the downside. We can use the project pattern forward feature again on the lowest degree, and we see that it's projected 5 here, where, as we can see in the ratios, where 5 would equal 1. Well, we can see that now it's possible that the pattern might stop there and market might reverse from there, but it's more likely that we're going to continue a little bit lower to another likely spot. As we watch the ratios, we can see them change in real time as you move waves around on the chart. Let's move the wave 5 down to a more likely place, and you can see we've lit up in green there, where 5 to 1 plus 3 is roughly 0.6. You can see it there, it's 0.59. It's close enough. Now what that would do, this lower degree, this intermediate degree here, those 5 waves would complete our light blue wave 3. And we can see the minimum target for the wave 3 is the green box there. Well, we've already exceeded that minimum target, so it's likely that if we use the project pattern forward feature, let's move these out of the way temporarily so we can focus in on this 3. So since our wave 5 here, to complete wave 3, we'll just put that here to indicate that's the completion of wave 3, expected completion of wave 3. Wave 4, we can estimate that wave 4 is going to be roughly between the previous wave 3 and 4, or we can take a look at the Fibonacci retracement using smart fibs and see that that's roughly 0.382. That's a common place for a wave 4 to stop. And then we can again use the ratios. Let's give ourselves a little space here. We can use the ratios to find a likely place for wave 5 to finish. And again, you can see we'll use the 0.6 of 5 compared to 1 plus 3 there, lighting up in green. And continue this example. Now, we'll just repeat the same process. Project our pattern forward to get the wave 5, and as the light blue 5 would complete the pink wave 5, now we have a guideline for how to expect this move to potentially complete to the downside. And you can see what's interesting here, I'm not sure if you've noticed yet, but as I put that wave 5 there, it finds confluence at 0.6. Now this is where I would have perhaps put wave 5 anyway without examining the lower degrees first. So it's again great evidence, confirmation building that this is a reasonable expectation for the way the market will proceed down to under the around the 925 level. So I hope this gives you some sense of how ratios can be used in your analysis to not only accelerate your investigations of various wave patterns, but to also give you very quick, instant insight into existing patterns and waves, and patterns and waves as we look to the future. So thanks for watching, and as always, happy trading.